Hello, everyone. Today is a very special day since we'll do a little event discussion for East vs West 17. So I'll just give a little bit to let people roll in, and then yeah. Hello, the Drew. I know you sent that message a while back, but hello, I saw it while I was setting everything up. Let me also pull up the card and all the matches that were on it. Let me see. East vs West 17. What's up, Jeremy? What's up, Victor? It'll take like a minute for people to roll up in here. What's up, Gateway Arms? Gateway Arms. What was the thing that? Oh yeah, you were the guy who was at the 12-hour stream who was like, "Oh, you won't go this long. You won't go this long." But then you saw the setup and you're like, "Okay, I'm not as surprised." Hey, I did end up doing the 12 hours, so you gotta put some respect on my name. You were a staunch believer in like 3 to 4 hours. All right. So I might just maybe go match by match and discuss, or I just let the comments dictate what I talk about. Yeah, Gateway. So what happened was apparently awful time to find out. YouTube only will like save a stream up to 12 hours. So they only saved 11, it cuts off at 11:55, so it looks like I end up not doing it. And then yeah, anyway, arm is still functioning. I ended up never doing a video kind of going over how things felt, but when that stream started, I had a pretty bad pain like right about here in my left arm, but I was just like, I'm just gonna push through it anyways. It ended up healing it. So literally after the event, or after the, I guess it's an event. The next day, my arm felt better than when it started. No soreness at all. Which was weird because right after I did it, it hurt like hell. Like it hurt a lot, and I was like, "Oh shit!" I'm getting some pretty legit pain here. Turned out the pain I was feeling was pretty, I guess, temporary, because the next day I felt great. So yeah. How many years of training would you need to hook Svekov? Yeah, you must have seen the video I posted, or I think Benji posted the talking. I just posted me gripping up with him, but yeah, no, like I believe everyone on this planet is genetically incapable of hooking Georgi Svekov. I don't know if that's totally true. Like maybe there's some person who could train long enough and hook him, but I believe that his amount of this pronation and then the actual size of his thumb pad makes him just humanly unhookable. I like, there's certainly not a human right now who can hook him. Levon, not a chance. Devin, not a chance. I don't know why Vitaly would, but if Vitaly tried to hook him, not a chance. But yeah, I would be very interested to see if someone could, but like, no, you can't. Hooking Gorgi Svekov doesn't exist, and neither does top rolling him. The only thing you could do is you can go flat wrist, but I don't believe you could top roll Svekov. I don't believe you could hook Svekov. There's just no chance. Yes, Gorgi's forearm bigger than your head. Yeah, that's probably accurate. I mean, it really is that big. Gorgi's one of, like, in my opinion, I think he's number 4 in the world right now. I think you got like Levon, Devin, Hermes, Svekov. I think Svekov beat Jerry. I think he'd beat Gennady. I think he'd beat Vitaly. Like all of these guys, I think he'd beat pretty easily. I think Svekov's right at the very, very, very top super heavyweights. Can anyone hook Vitaly either? No. Yeah, that's the thing though. It's like, yeah, no one could. There's a few guys who are unhookable. Devin, Levon, Vitaly, Svekov, maybe Hermes, probably all unhookable. Yeah, we just talked about that, but basically, like, my arm got healed. The day after, my arm actually got better. So yeah, it was kind of weird. Yeah, gateway arms. So about the John Terry and Craig match, I didn't really notice any reffing issues, but when you're in the crowd, you're kind of not paying as much attention. So I don't totally know, but like, what were the complaints people were making about the reffing? I think Mike beats Svekov. That might be true. That might, because that's just an awful style matchup. But even then, I could see Svekov just going harder, harder, harder outside. Maybe. But yeah. But would he beat Bowen at 86 kilos? That Bowen at 86 kilos is undefeated so far. He has lost a round, though, to be fair. But he has never lost a super match. That is true. Especially if Svekov needs to make 86 kilos, too. His left leg is 86 kilos. That's the problem. All right. So now we'll just start going batch by batch. So the first one, Andrei Sharkovich against Austin Kachatrian, I believe. I found out like 2 seconds after this match started. Apparently, Austin is from Los Angeles, and he like goes to a club here. I had no clue. So halfway into that match, I was an Austin fan to my bones. Sure enough, he ended up winning. I had heard that apparently Andrei Sharkovich had won the first match, so I was vaguely picking Andrei Sharkovich, but by no means was I like confident. And once I saw him lose, I was like, yeah, that sounds about right. Did you hear that Mindaugas said the setup screwed him over versus Giannis, but gave him advantage versus Hunter? Yeah, I mean, that sounds about right. I mean, especially that first setup. Mindaugas, I think, was clearly so unhappy with the setup he let the round go. I don't know if that's true, but I don't believe Giannis could, under any circumstance, flash pin Mindaugas. So there must have been an issue there with the setup. I believe it was sort of like Brad Grundy and Pavlo round 1. Brad just said he didn't like his setup, so he just literally gave the round away. I believe it was very similar to that one. Very similar reffing to the Devin versus Gennady. Refs were constantly tapping John's shoulder when he was square, and Craig's was not. Second round was not a pin. Even commentators said the same thing. Well, when they upload the match, I'll watch it back, and then I'll definitely need to check it out, because I'm a little, I'm always skeptical when people are complaining about the referees, but we'll see. Okay, so yeah, Andre and Austin, I had no clue. After the match, I still have no clue. No strong opinions. Cody Wood and Moronto. I thought Cody Wood would win. Once again, with like 2% confidence. If someone bet me $10, I would have bet on Joseph Moronto instead, because I was that unconfident. But that match, let me tell you, that was one of the loudest of the whole night in the arena, because Cody wins those first 2 rounds easy. And the moment he got that stop in the third round, I was just like, this is arm wrestling right here. And it was stopped, dead in the center for a good, 20 seconds or whatever. And that crowd was hugely loud. Even when it's not big stars on stage, they were still like bringing like a lot of energy. If you got the chance, go to an East vs. West in person, you'll know what I'm talking about. And then that 5th round was just obscene. Like that 5th round was just the noise in the room was totally crazy. Do you think Cody's ready for Hunter? Well, I think they've already met before. And I heard it was at the round robin, and I heard Cody was hurt that day. I don't know if it's true, but you still showed up, so fair enough. But yeah, so like from what I've heard, Cody and Hunter are like this. They're actually quite close already. But as to who's more promising, I have no clue. I think Hunter feels quite one-dimensional to me. He feels like he's very good at setting the hook, but if he can't, we saw what kind of happens against Mindaugas. So I would be curious to see how maybe Cody would do against a more elite guy. But frankly, I think they both get their ass handed to them. They need a little bit more time, probably. All right, Hunter Knopfs against Vilen Lowe. I was kind of rooting for Vilen Lowe in this match, just because I hate when everyone counts out a guy, but I think he's got a real solid crack, and that's how I felt about Vilen Lowe. This match, like a lot of people were saying, like, it was just on fouls, but I tend to think that Vilen Lowe actually put up quite a good fight there. I genuinely believe it was a good, close match. But at the same time, when round 5 happens and it's 3-2, or 2-2, I'm still thinking Hunter's going to win. And I don't know why I was still so confident Hunter would win. But yeah, it definitely showed that it's not like Hunter can set the hook against anybody. You know, in America, we have this idea that Hunter can set a hook on any dude and nobody can avoid it. And once he gets there, he's beating everybody. And Vilen just showed none of that's true, even at all, like even 1%. So yeah, Vilen definitely, even though he lost, he completely killed the Hunter hype. Now no one wants Hunter and Mindaugas. And frankly, I don't want Hunter and Daniel Lustanov either. So I'm predicting right now, blind bet, I think Hunter will lose his next right-handed match because I think they're going to try to set him up against someone quite a bit harder, and this is going to be a pretty sharp reality check. But maybe they'll set him up against another American, and I mean, setting up Hunter and Cody wouldn't be a bad idea right now. That would be just good 50-50 in the hook. That would not be a bad idea. All right, Craig and Jean Toulier. Before this match, I think there's a certain number of people who literally didn't know why this was set. They're like, oh, Craig's going to kill this guy. And that was kind of how I was until I realized that John Terrian beat Brandon Alcesar and Brandon Alcesar beat Craig. So I was like, okay, this isn't like they're not on different planets. But for one reason or another, I still picked Craig. I still just thought Craig would win. And sure enough, he did. So, yeah, this match was honestly, in my opinion, though, was like super, super, super close. Even though it's like a 3-0 Craig, the whole time was like waiting for John to win, and it just never came. But like, I think if that went one more round, we might have seen a 4-3 John Terrian. But yeah, that match was really good. I'm waiting for that one to get uploaded on YouTube so I can watch that thing back because that one was exciting. Auden, Beyond the Limits layer can beat everyone. Oh, wait, never mind. I don't know what that's about, but yeah. Hope the May event will have East vs. West 12 venue. I believe it will. Yeah. I can't imagine they would go to any other venue if they're going to go to Istanbul because they have like some type of like partnership with that hotel. So yeah, it'll be at the same venue, but I will not be there. I'm definitely not going to that one. Hopefully I can get permission to do a live commentary because I think that'll be super fun. But yeah, Hunter should not pull Mindaugas right hand yet. Mindaugas is another level, and personally would smoke him. I think Mindaugas. Yeah, I agree, Victor. I wouldn't even say a whole level. He's like 2 whole levels. He's much better than those guys. Travis versus Mindaugas in Chicago. I would love to see Travis and Mindaugas set. Now, listen, the whole off-the-couch Travis against Mindaugas, the debate briefly died because Sergey Kananchenko told me that Daniel Prokopchuk felt stronger than Travis Bajin. But then I heard from another guy that Sergey Kananchenko is like the biggest Daniel Prokopchuk supporter, even more than Neil is for Mindaugas. After I heard that, the debate is back on. I still think Neil's wrong again. Travis would kill that dude. Now that I'm back to believing that. But I met Travis in person at this event, and he is not that same, fire-breathing Travis, It's a different Travis. But I still kind of think he might win. So, no, Yago Rossi didn't have a different venue. It was a different room in the same hotel. So the reason why that happened is because there was some double booking issue. So they booked an opera at the main room, and we're like, oh shit. So we had to change. Yeah, it was only like a scheduling mistake, but yeah, that was the only reason it wasn't in that normal big room. I thought Mindaugas was skinny, but seeing him pumped post-match changed my mind. Yeah, Mindaugas is not as small as you think he is. You'll meet him in person, and he is. I'm not going to say he looks crazy or anything, but he's not quite as small as you're imagining in your head because you see him next to a lot of big guys. Once you see him just with the general population, he's pretty big. If Travis can't get the flashman, he gives up instantly, game over. Absolutely. 100%. 100%. I just think he might get that flashman is the thing. All right, Giannis and Mindaugas, undeniably match of the night. Everyone was like, I had so many people say that, oh, this is going to be a 3-2. And I always think it's stupid when people say that because, how often our match is 3-2. But this one was actually 3-2. About as good of a match as you could possibly get. Um, Long, drawn out rounds, Mindaugas flop pressing, which I never expected to see. And at the end, Mindaugas doing a great comeback win and screaming his head off. CBLA, I kind of agree. Yeah. They, I'm going to presume that they likely will not do a venue that big and expensive again because, like, I mean, I'm sure it was really expensive just by looking at it. Um, but yeah, if they were to do that, they should have like a super card. In my opinion, the card did not match up the venue. The venue was Travis off the couch versus Ryan Bowen. Ask that to Neil Pickup. That would be great. I might ask Neil that. Just because Neil will simultaneously need to gripe with the fact that he's saying Travis isn't that good, while also having to argue with the fact that you'd be picking Ryan Bowen to win a match. That doesn't feel good if you're Neil. That would be a great question for him. But yeah, I have Travis off the couch. All right. Sarah and Jocelyn Brisson. A lot of people were surprised by this one because like every poll was, like 90-10 or whatever. But like this is the exact thing I expected to see. Jocelyn won last time and is way newer in arm wrestling. So logically, she should just win again. And that is what happened. But I would have been not totally shocked if it was just, oh, Sarah hadn't prepared properly. Now she's prepared properly, so she won. But yeah, I think you had to have Jocelyn as a pretty heavy favorite. And sure enough, the match results showed that we definitely should have had her as a favorite. So yeah, I had picked Jocelyn to win, and I was very satisfied to see her win just because I think it's more like it's a less interesting result to see Sarah win, frankly. I didn't want to see Sarah win that match because if Sarah wins that match, it's another day in the office. If Jocelyn wins that match, we have a new, potential super heavyweight champ. She wants Egla, but will she take that match or happen? I don't know what that means. And if not, then Gabby would happen, in my opinion. I wouldn't send her to Gabby. I think Egla's a good idea, and I'd be surprised if Egla didn't take the match. I definitely think Egla will definitely take any match that gets put in front of her that's interesting. And, when you're one of those best women on the planet, there really isn't that many interesting matches. But now we've just thrown in a really in shape, good looking Jocelyn Brisson. Jocelyn Brisson is now interesting for all three of the top three women. Sarah or Egla, Barbora, and Gabby. All three of those are good matches for Jocelyn. So because of that, it's just like how big a wolf do we want to throw her to, right? But yeah, Victor, I heard it was 2,500. But when I was looking at the seats themselves, it didn't feel like 2,500. But the actual room was big. I don't totally know, frankly. I don't totally know. But I'll say right now, there was not a single empty chair in the whole place. So however many seats they had, they sold out, and there were people standing. So, yeah, if I had to estimate, just based on my gut of what it felt like I was looking at, maybe 1,700. 1,700 is what my gut feels like. But they said 2,500, but it didn't look like 2,500. So I'm not so ready to say it was 2,500 people. So I don't know. But no. Definitely it had more people than Tbilisi. Not a chance. Tbilisi, yeah, was a good amount less. And I think it's just by nature of if you do an event in Texas, the amount of Texan locals you're going to get is huge. There's a few neighboring states that can all drive too, but then also everybody who can actually fly in the States because, it's just they have the money to. Sorry for talking about this. I just got here. What do you think about Joseph Moranto versus Cody Wood comeback? Yeah, I mean, it was great. The energy around that comeback was terrific. I did already talk about it, but I'm fine to talk about it again. Energy was super crazy about that. I didn't really have any strong feeling one or the other. I did get a chance to talk to Joseph after the match. I didn't talk to Cody Wood. I kind of wanted to ask if he maybe got hurt or something because I got the vibe he got hurt in round 3. Or round 2, maybe at the end, one of those, as you're surging, you'll kind of feel a little something. I kind of got the vibe that happened because round 1 and 2 versus 3 to 5, Cody would look like a totally different guy. So yeah, Joseph and Hunter would be absolutely great. Bob Anderson, I agree. All right, Cody Merritt and Prudnick was kind of pulling hard for Cody, but I firmly believed Prudnick would win, and it was kind of what I thought. Where Prudnick just has so many options. He'd be able to hook, he could top roll, and he could kind of get his shoulder in on it. Cody Merritt is so like single laned. He's got only this outside move. And if you are capable of dealing with that outside move, you will win the match. Now that outside move is very strong and it gives hell to anybody, but at the same time, it's just quite one dimensional. I would reckon Cody might do. This is gonna sound crazy. I don't know. I'm not so sure Cody wouldn't beat Vitali because that one move is really good. But well, that is insane. I take that back. He would not beat Vitali, but stylistically, he would be good at dealing with Vitali. Alex, I literally don't even remember what you're talking about, but like, I believe Prudnick would win just because he could throw his shoulder behind it, so there would be no way to like really separate him ever, which is what Cody needs to do. I just looked up the Sports Arlington Stadium seats 2,500, so your 1,700 is probably spot on. I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but like I would say that venue could have had many more seats. There was a lot of empty area. So like if it seats 2,500, I would say we had like 1,000 seats. I mean, there could have been so many more chairs put in, but just by estimating the amount of humans I saw, it felt like 1,700. Wonder if they are capable of having 5,000 seats, although price would need to be nuts to host. I don't know what you mean. So like, could we get a venue with 5,000 seats, or could we fill up 5,000 seats? I don't think we can fill up 5,000 seats yet. East vs. West does not pay for my trips, no. But this one was like very like I definitely wanted. It was so easy to go to. I almost didn't go. Like if this one was in Europe, I would have never went. But like my flight was $100 and my hotel was $300 for a week, splitting it with Benji Max. So yeah, round 2 was great. Vitali doesn't feel Cody. Yeah, probably, but you see what I'm saying, Jeremy. From a style standpoint, Cody, his one-dimensionalness against Vitali's one-dimensionalness kind of works. It's just Vitali's better in that one move. And I'm not even so sure I could say Vitali's one-dimensional anymore, frankly. Cody versus Wagner. I think Cody would kill Wagner. But actually, Wagner can press. Maybe. Actually, maybe. I mean, people forget. They'll talk about Wagner's left like he's terrible. He drilled Zaranov twice, like straight in a press into a hook. So, yeah, a lot of people thought Angerbayev would beat Matt Mass because of the image that Matt is a bum who always loses, and Angerbayev is this technical savant, brilliant arm wrestler. But I couldn't imagine Matt falling victim to that move. I thought Angerbayev, like, if he won, he would win like this. And frankly, I thought Angerbayev would win. But, like, I wasn't shocked to see Matt win. But at the same time, I was pretty shocked to see Matt win. I was like 85% sure Angerbayev would win. And that's not because I have this idea Matt's a bum who always loses, but if you just lined up all the people Angerbayev's beaten and all the people Matt's beaten, Matt has not proved he is on that level yet. Now he has proved he is on that level. So, yeah. Thoughts on Mike versus Vitali? Frankly, Jeremy, I think Mike's going to lose. Gun to my head, I think Mike's going to lose, but I don't think it's like Mike winning doesn't shock me at all. It will come down to his riser. I think if Vitali surges sideways, he's going to get stuck somewhere around here. If he decides to climb up and then he trains a press and presses to finish, I don't see any way Mike will win. But if at some point during that something fails of, okay, Mike actually doesn't lose his riser, now Vitali's fucked. If Vitali doesn't have a press, now Vitali's fucked. It's going to come down to how good of a preparation Vitali does, not how good of a preparation Mike does, in my opinion. If Vitali prepares everything correct and he's training a press and he's training to climb, and then press the finish, I have Vitali. If Vitali somehow thinks he's going to flash pin Mike in a top roll, I have Mike. But frankly, I would need to talk to Vitali. If I had a conversation with Vitali, I would know who would win. I believe I can tell you with 100% certainty who will win if I have a conversation with Vitaly first. Who should Matt poll? I think it's going to be Nugo. I think that wasn't that someone did a poll like, or didn't he? I think he called out Nugo. So yeah, Nugo's the guy, and Nugo would be like the coolest fucking match ever. So Nugo, that's who he should pull. Michael should utilize elbow fouls to wear up that. If Mike ever gets, and this is where it's like Mike doesn't ever quit, so this wouldn't work. But if he ever gets to a time where he's kind of palm up like this with his riser down, he needs to just go like this and get a restart. That's what I think. But he's sort of like psychologically, he doesn't ever want to quit under any circumstance. So that's just not a choice for him. He's like, I don't quit and I will not stop during a round that's stopped, because if it's stopped, I believe I can win. That's Mike's psyche. Now, does that always serve him well? Of course not. But it's that crazy psyche that got him to this level. So can I really say it's a bad idea for him to think like that? Kind of no. But at the same time, yes, sometimes he should elbow foul to get out of rounds. Like if Ermi's climbing all over your hand, elbow foul. But it's just not really his personality. So I don't know what to tell you. Do you think 5,000 seats is possible this year, or do you think it's still way too early? Yeah, I mean, I tend to agree with Jeremy Parker. You could, I wouldn't even say it needs to be in Canada. You could do it in Georgia or Canada, or any big American like city. You bring this to LA, Vegas, any of these places, I think you can get 5,000 people. But if you bring it to like this Istanbul event, I'll tell you right now, the card's going to be great, and there's going to be 300 people there. Like Istanbul just doesn't seem to be driving the amount of people. Like East vs. West 15, it just did not have people in person. And I don't know if they just did a bad job selling the tickets or this or that, or there was some disconnect, or maybe they weren't trying to sell tickets because they knew the venue was going to be fucked. I have no clue. But yeah, like it just, if they do it in Istanbul, I think really the city is what matters, because the card we had in Arlington wasn't that crazy of a card, and that place was packed compared to East vs. West 15, which in my opinion is the best card they've ever had. That place was not packed. That would be crazy if Michael pried straight up back by doing the most straight arm under the table, desperate King's move hit, and take that foul. That's the other thing. Yeah, if Mike's trying to foul out, what he should do is he should just crank way underneath the table. And you crank way under the table. You get just a foul for, flagrancy or whatever, but you put so much tax in their hand and wrist on the way down. That would be a good idea. But once again, like Mike's psyche, I don't think he wants to quit in a situation like that. I think I'm doing a Mike interview pretty soon here, so maybe I'll ask about them. Like they could get 5,000 seats, Victor. It's just once again, filling them up. I don't think they're confident they can fill them up, and it's probably for the better. Dexter and his coworker will be doing a Q&A. We can ask them about why Istanbul. Yeah, I mean, of course you could. I don't know. Maybe they'll answer. Maybe they won't. I don't know. Are Gorgi's hands really that big, or did you just have tiny hands? My hands are not that tiny, all right? They're 7.5 inches from there to there. So here is there you go. There's an iPhone 15 in my hand next to each other. So you can get a good reference point. So yeah, my hands are small. Like I'm not gonna act like I have like huge hands or anything, but if you have huge hands, your hands still look small next to Gorgi's, is the truth of it. So it's a little bit of both, but Gorgi's hands are ridiculous, and I have small hands. That's an iPhone mini, okay. Michael Todd quit versus Devin. Yeah, but I think Devin, at that point, Devin's just trying to shame him a bit. So, yeah, and I believe at that point, Mike no longer believed he could win, which is why he quit. If he's right here in a terrible palm up on his bicep position, Mike will still think he can win. And sometimes he can win from that position. So he won't stop. But he understood he couldn't win against Devin, which is why he quit. No problem, Luke Jones. I get it. Hermes is the worst opponent for Michael Todd, and sometimes sometimes you couldn't press Michael Todd. If Vitaly is forced to press, the match is over. Well, okay, Vitaly will 100% be forced to press. No doubt. You can't top roll. You can't purely top roll Mike, in my opinion. So, yeah, elbow down, I already did that. But I believe it's very close, very interesting. And if Vitaly prepares very, very correctly, I think he's going to win. But I think there's a great chance he doesn't prepare correctly, is the truth of it. Everyone thinks they know how to beat Michael Todd until they have to be against Michael Todd, right? It's in theory, it's like, oh, I'll just climb, and press. But not everybody. Once you actually experience that, you're maybe not always as ready. There's been a lot of people who get caught off by his move the first time they have to deal with it. So yeah. All right. Next match, Hunter and Mindaugas. Not a whole lot to talk about, frankly. It was everything every American hoped it wouldn't be. Yeah, Mindaugas is just way too good. Not even close. Not much to talk about there. Moment I saw Mindaugas low-handing and I saw him like this, I was just like, nobody can hook that thing. It was just like, moment I saw that, I was like, we need an act of God here. I was kind of hoping Mindaugas would try the hook one round, but he was strictly business that day, and he was just cleaning him up. So yeah, unfortunate, but way it is. Matt versus Ungerbayev, kind of talked about already, but I thought Ungerbayev could jam his shoulder in like this, and he couldn't. Like, it was just like there was no lane. Matt's hand is as good as I thought it was, or maybe even better. But what I now am finding out is Matt's arm is significantly improved. I don't think Matt's old arm could get through Ungerbayev in any position, especially that last round where it was kind of hooky. But even then, Ungerbayev was turned like this and Matt was like this, but it was still a little bit of arm, and it took him one extra pump to finish. But yeah, so Ungerbayev, when you get a match result like that, you got to think Ungerbayev probably wasn't as good as he was before. That's true. Matt also had to have been better than we thought he was before, because I mean, there was a point in time a few years ago where I would have told you Matt needed two arms to beat Ungerbayev. But now he just made him look like a total joke. When you get a match result that shocking, I think it's got to be a little bit of each. Vitaly and a King's move versus Michael's hook. Mike's hook's probably pretty good because he can really get his shoulder behind it. So I'm taking Mike's hook against. Well, I mean, yeah, like he would be able to just press, but he likes pressing with his hand, not totally opened up. So I don't know if Vitaly and a King's move versus Michael's hook. I think King's move is one of those moves where if you're not good at it, you are awful at it. So like for me, when I try to King's move, I feel so stupid. I have no clue how to do it. And I know that I need to drag them out over here to kind of separate them and get their arm opening up. But it's just so unintuitive to me. So I think it's very possible Vitaly will be so bad in a King's move that Michael's hook actually reigns supreme. But yeah, Matt versus Nugo, it's going to be really good. I have such a hard time predicting this one. Because like when you're a top roller and you go up against another top roller, if you want them to be like 3 to 4 inches shorter than you. That's what feels good. When he's 3 to 4 inches shorter, you take his wrist and you don't get over pronated and you could just pin. Nugo is so much shorter than Matt, it is almost now uncomfortable to top roll him. Because you can top roll him, but you'll get so over pronated, he may be able to just hold on like this. So Matt versus Nugo, I'm really excited for. Not just because the match is great, but the intensity at the table and everything. I think I'm taking Matt. But we'll see. Like, if Matt gets slammed by Nugo badly, we'll be like, okay, Ungerbayev just wasn't in a good shape, So, yeah. I think Matt Masculi's best ever. Kitagali is just shadow of what he was. I don't see Matt doing this to Kitagali pre-Petrenko. Yeah, like, I agree. I think it's a bit of both. Like, it has to be a bit of both. Ernie said that Vitaly probably has 50% of his press strength and he doesn't have the endurance in the back pressure. Yeah, but he arm wrestled him like a year and a half ago, and I'm always a little skeptical of like an arm wrestler's review of some guy he arm wrestled, like when he was filled with adrenaline and focused on his own game. I don't think you can really properly assess someone's level, and I think Vitaly's been training a press for a bit now. You said that your hand is 7.5. I just measured for the first time ever. My hand is 8.5. What is classified as a large hand? So I have a small hand. So if yours is 8.5, you probably have a decent I wear large size gloves, but amongst the arm wrestling circle, I probably have very small hands. Maybe for average people, I have average hands. Um, but yeah, I would say 8.5 is probably decently large. But there's a lot of other things like how thick your fingers are, how big your palm is. I have really big palm and I have short fingers, so it's just different, right? Uh, when you try to top roll, but your opponent is a little bit stronger, you may end up in a king's move naturally without intention. Kind of like I mean, it depends what you mean. There's like king's move, and then there's kind of like open arm top roll, like this, and then there's like really dropping down. I will never naturally feel like I want to go to a king's move under any circumstance. But yeah, for sure, open arm top roll if someone feels a good level stronger and you need to separate them. All right, Dave versus Svetkov. Again, it's everything every American hoped it wouldn't be. Yeah, Svetkov was just way too strong. On paper, this made no sense. The only way you could believe Dave would win is if Dave was much better, and I was feeling like Dave might be much better. Just wasn't the case. Yeah, overwhelmingly stronger in pretty much every area. There were some moments where Dave got to like here, but yeah, Svetkov, and people were saying like, "Oh, Dave is gonna stay flat wristed all the way to the pad." I'm like, yeah, no way. Dave's path was pressing Svetkov, and I don't actually think Svetkov is that vulnerable to a press. We saw how him and Jerry went, was not an easy time. So yeah, Dave and Kalina, that would be good. Dave and I think Kalina's kind of done with the super heavyweight thing. He wants to do 115. Pretty sure Kalina already has a match set for this next event. I guess I can say it just because I think you can kind of put it together. I believe Kalina is going against Ivan. No. He's going against Sagov. I think it's Kalina and Sagov, and then we're getting Gennady and Ivan Matyshenko. All those are at 115. Actually, Jeremy, the other day you were asking me to tell you matches I know about. I don't know about those matches. I've just kind of put 1 and 2 together. Like this guy said this guy said this. I think those are going to happen. I'm quite confident about Ivan versus Gennady right-handed at 115. Pretty damn sure that's happening. It's not. So Alex is saying it's not Sagov. I don't know. But yeah, so honestly, though, I think Dave should come to 115. Dave was like 124 this event or something. So, like, yeah, like just come down a little bit and wait and go against some easier guys. So, yeah. Let's see. Strong, healthy, Gorgi, too much. Other than Devin, who in the 115 class has the capacity to challenge the supers? I would say maybe Data can, but really none of them. Yeah, because like thing is, there's not the 115 class is not really comprised of that many guys who are like too huge. There's not a lot of guys who are like, in my opinion, true 115s. A true 115 guy is actually 125 and they cut down. So yeah, but like the truth of it is those guys are all stronger than a lot of people realize. Like they don't realize a lot of the super heavyweights are only like 130 kilo. I say only, that's huge. But if you're 115 and another guy's 130, that's pretty damn even. Like it's really not that big a deal, especially because the 115 guy isn't water cutting anymore. Maybe he's actually 122 or something. Now you're right there, and that's a close match. And they aren't any less skilled than the super heavyweights, so a lot of those guys would do decent. It's just like name one bad super heavyweight. I can't think of one. They're all really, really, really freaky good. So yeah. Is it already okay to put Russian versus Ukrainian Kalina Sagov? Oh, that's a great point. Yeah, so they probably won't do that because I don't think they'll set a Russian and a Ukrainian unless they kind of need to. Alex, then who's Gennady facing? I thought Gennady was facing somebody at 115. Arm wrestling needs a 270 or 308 class. That's the thing. That 115 class, a lot of super heavyweights can already hit it. Zaranov, Hermes, um, Vitaly a while back, Dave, uh, Morzov a while back. A lot of those guys could still make 115 if they dieted down just a few kilos and then water cut. They could definitely make it. They should make Matt versus Nugo 105 kg title. Devin is coming out for a while, and if either wins, the title is in a fan favorite hands. It's not actually a terrible idea. Yeah, the truth of it is like, yeah, Devin deserves that title and needs to defend it once a year, but none of us want to watch him at 105 at all. It would be completely boring. So, yeah, sure, why not? Just give the title to someone else. But at the same time, it's like that title holds so little value because we all know who really deserves it, which makes it uninteresting to sort of say that it's like, oh, this is the world champion. Well, none of us really think that's the world champion. Is the truth of it. So, what do you think of moving heavyweight class to 120 instead of 115? I mean, yeah, like that would definitely make it open to a few more guys, but I don't really think that it's that big of a deal. I just think a lot of guys in the super heavyweights, because they want to be a super heavyweight and chase the dream of being the number one guy on the planet. In my opinion, there's only a few dudes who are close, but at some point, every guy who's close right now wasn't close. So, there's plenty of guys who I think are wanting to be that number one spot. And it's just too cool trying to be that number one spot. So no matter how many, you make it this, you make it that, it doesn't matter. Everyone wants to be the number one super heavyweight because that's just the coolest. That's the coolest dude right there. The guy who can say nobody can beat me in an arm wrestle. Is Yvonne weaker right-handed? I think left is better, but they're both good. 125 would be so good, man. I am like 170. I hate pulling supers. You should probably water cut down to 253 or diet a little bit. Philip says, give me 17 years, I'll be the number one super heavyweight. I think you need less than 17 years. That's going to be my bold prediction. Maybe 15. All right, Devin and Corey. This honestly went a little closer than I thought it would be. I bet on Devin to win 3-0, so I was pleased with that. Little bit closer than I expected, though. I kind of thought it would be a little more dominant, but I really think Devin's center of the table control left-handed is just not good. But right there, it's as strong as his right hand, right? Where is your super heavyweight championship after your RP Levon after the 2 pounds 12 hours? Exactly. I'm the super heavyweight champion. Calling you live from Los Angeles. But yeah, Devin's right there, similar right-handed, but all of this is not the same as his right hand. So I think Corey can just cut through all that like a hot knife through butter. But then he gets to those last couple of inches right near the end of his range where he has you stopped and he's got you opened up. And all of a sudden he can't generate enough power to finish. So I still think Devin would get blasted by Camille or anyone with a really good shoulder press left-handed, just because he needs to improve this part of the open arm before he gets down to that very end. Because if you're only good at that very end, you're going to get pressed. Unless you're like a weirdo Michael Todd situation where that last few inches you basically can't get pressed. It's the exact other way around, where Mike loves it when he finds out you're a presser because you're not finishing him. You're getting right here and then he's holding it, right? So yeah, but a little closer than I expected. But still, Devin looked pretty comfortable. I at no point in the match believed Corey would win. There was not a single moment I thought Corey would win, but the whole time it was interesting. So yeah, good fight from Corey, and I heard he's going to become a full-time arm wrestler, which is very exciting. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. And then final match, John and Yoshi. Never have I ever cried at an arm wrestling match result until this match when Yoshi won round 1. I was tearing up and I was like, this shit ain't right. I was saying to Benji, I'm just like, this isn't right. It wasn't supposed to end like this, because I already knew John was fucked after the first round. I'm like, God damn it. But yeah, the energy in that first round where he got right here, the whole room was shaking in that moment. I even got I got some video. I can show you guys some video here. Give me just a moment. I took some video. I totally don't think I'm allowed to take it. I guess I'm technically showing match footage, but it's not that big a deal. This was in the third round, and then Yoshi pinned him. And you could hear a rat piss on a cotton ball when Yoshi pinned him, is the truth of it. There was zero excitement for Yoshi winning that match. It was just not supposed to end like that. I'm still very, very unhappy about how that match result ended up going, but it's one of those things where I don't think I'm a cannibalization rat. I think it's okay. Everyone here has seen the event, and if that's all you see, you're definitely not too happy. But anyway, so yeah, the event was super cool. If you get the chance to visit an East vs. West in person, you absolutely, or a King of the Table, any of these things in person, you absolutely need to, because the energy in that room is so great. And if you're a weirdo where you're like crazy about arm wrestling and you don't have other people in your life who are crazy about arm wrestling, for one weekend, you get to be normal. For one weekend, everyone else is as crazy as you are. So you get to feel like I'm just a normal crazy dude who loves arm wrestling. But then you go back to your normal life and you're the crazy dude who loves arm wrestling. Exactly. Yoshi didn't read the script. That's what I'm saying, Jeremy. Anyway, thank you all for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed. And yeah, visit an East vs. West in person. You're going to have an absolute blast, and be nice to people.